Hey up, I'm Guy Kestervin, the Tester Man, and these are the Wave Extreme XCM4s. So, first up, confession time. I have had these shoes since a press camp, shout out to Bike Connection, in 2022. The good news is you can still get them. They're apparently the last few remaining now on the Wave site, but these have been a skeleton in my reviewing cupboard for a long time. And for no other reason is I just haven't got round to them. So I've got a bunch of shoe reviews to do. This is the first one because it's the oldest. Why would you want to consider these, they are, as you can see from the sole, I mean, it's a Michelin sole, so it's actually a reasonably grippy, soft compound rubber, but they're borderline sort of spin studio shoes. If it wasn't for those little stud blanks up the front there, for your cyclocross fans, and a little bit of toothiness on the toe, you could be forgiven. Those are just indoor shoes, really. But having said that, I do like that little bit of gripper on the insole there because it's a rounded shank. It's not fully carbon fibre. There's fully carbon fibre plate under the forefoot of the sole, but otherwise quite a narrow sort of tread pontoon on there, which means they're a little bit unstable, and they are absolutely hyper stiff. Even though they're not full carbon fibre, they are seriously stiff. They've got a Wave stiffness rating of 12, which is their highest one. And I think, to be honest, most shoe manufacturers seem to do 1 to 12. I don't know if there's any like empirical standard. I've never heard of one being set. Yeah, they are a very stiff shoe. And also, they've proved a very tough shoe. To be fair, I've worn them on and off because they are, they're fairly race specific because, they are that stiff that walking them's okay, but they're not a trail shoe really. They really are a race shoe. So power transfer, absolutely excellent. Fit is typically Italian, so these are a 44 for me to get the width, even though I'm a 43 sometimes in other sizes. However, these have lasted really well. You've got toe bumper there. You've got a little bit of reinforcement. It's basically slightly thicker around the underside there. But while I haven't worn and on the inside as well, but while I haven't worn these a huge amount, my mate Graham has a set of the Rebel shoes, which are essentially the same shoe, same stiffness, same dials with a slightly different upper. Same sole stiffness anyway. I don't think they've got carbon fibre in, but they're a bit heavier, but they're a lot cheaper. And he's been wearing those basically non-stop for the past 3 years, and I caught up with him just to check in on how he was doing with them, and he said, yeah, absolutely fine. They got nibbled by a goat on Friday, but up at Paradise Farm, but yeah, they're absolutely fine apart from that. And like I say, in terms of fit, quite long and narrow, but bear that in mind when you're choosing them. I mean, to be honest, I know the temptation is to get them online, you might get a better deal, but just go in and get a shoe that, try a shoe in a bike shop where you can actually try them on. You'll get a much better idea of fit. But you've got sort of semi-profiled insole, different densities there, bit of a lump under the midfoot for a bit more arch support. It's interesting. It says on the website perforated upper, but really there's very little. There's a tiny amount there, which I don't know if that's even perforations or it's just reflective dots. You certainly can't see through it from the underside. So actually they're pretty weatherproof. They're certainly splash proof. It's only that bit of mesh on the side there, which wouldn't be beyond the wit of man to cover up with a bit of gaffer tape if you wanted to make them pretty well sealed all the way through. I mean, they're not sealed on the tongue, but it's very washable. It's basically, it's a synthetic. It's not a fabric. So very washable, very tough around the heel there. There's no wear there. Still really firm around there. But the biggest win by far with these shoes, because let's face it, there are a lot of very stiff racing shoes available, but only Wave, as far as I know, use this particular dial system. So it's not a boa, works like a boa, but not a boa. However, the big win here is you've got that lever on top there, and that just releases them. So they're really easy to undo. No drama at all undoing them. Like I say, Graham's been using these. One of them's finally got stiff on his shoe, but he reckons it just needs to clean out. But otherwise, really durable. They don't get kicked. They don't undo if they get kicked, because you've got to pull that lever back on them. And just being able to like properly micro adjust, one click at a time. Basically, you got a tighten dial and a release lever, and it just works. Well, frankly, I think these work far, far better than a BOA dial. They're just more practical. They seem tougher. I haven't managed to kick them off, which I often do with a BOA. And yeah, so big thumbs up to Northwave on those dials. The only thing I would say is, because they're very, very robust, well-made shoe, and even despite the fact they haven't got a lot of tread on them, they are quite heavy, 430 grams for this size 44 with a cleat in, so sort of 100 grams heavier than the lighter shoes in this category if you're looking at gravel, cross-country mountain biking shoes. But for that, you're getting a lot of durability. And also, they're not cheap. They're not crazy expensive. Actually, I think they're well north of 200 quid. So, no, 234, it says on the website. So 234 quid, which is pretty bloody expensive, but you can pay a lot more. And if you're after a pair of really good quality, highly efficient shoes that'll last really, really well, then, I'd definitely consider putting these in your shopping basket. Anyway, subscribe, notifications, click like, Patreon, YouTube, thumbs up, tell your mates, all that stuff. But for now, I've been Guy Kesterburn on Guy Kes TV, talking about the Wave Extreme XC4 shoes. See you in the comments if you want to know more. See you on the trails, hopefully as well, or just see you for the next review on here. Cheers for your time, folks. Hope it's been useful.